Hello and welcome to Ask A Web Geek. My name is CJ Gilbert, and you're joining us for episode number 26 of Ask A Web Geek. Thanks for being here. We're in the Web Cave, coming to you live inside of our Facebook group as we tape the show with our studio audience present. So glad you're with us this morning. I am so excited about our show today because for the first time ever, we have a guest geek to present our featured topic of the week. It's really great. You're going to get a lot out of it. But first, I want to introduce you to our featured animal of the week, someone we've seen before, and that's our crocodile. This guy sits next to me a lot of the times on my keyboard right here next to me. And he looks kind of scary, but you know what? He's never attacked me yet. He just sits there next to me and keeps me company. Because he's a toy, you guys. I realize there's some podcast listeners. I'm holding a toy crocodile, which cannot hurt me in any way. And that's why it's a little bit funny, because he'll never move because he's a toy. Anyway, this crocodile is our metaphor for today in the jungle. And you may be up against something that seems scary, that seems like it's going to derail your plans, that seems like it's going to pull you off guard, distract you from the job that you're trying to do. And I'm here to say, take a second look, because maybe that obstacle that you thought was scary is nothing more than illusion. Maybe it's made of plastic. Maybe it's got a made in China sticker on it somewhere, and it's not actually the scary thing that you think it is. So take a second look and ask yourself if it's really true. What you're fearing, is it really true? Is it really happening? Or are you afraid of something in the future? You know, if you're afraid of something in the future, it doesn't exist yet. The future is imaginary. It's simply not here. The past is gone, the future doesn't exist, and all we have is this present moment. So if you're being attacked by fear this week in your jungle, take a second look and ask yourself, is it really true? Is it even really happening? And you might be surprised. So here's our crocodile. I don't have a name for our crocodile. Kathy? Should we name her Kathy? Kathy the crocodile? I don't know. I'll work on it. Hopefully this will encourage you in your jungle voyage this week. All right, so we'll say goodbye to the crocodile for now. She'll be sitting right here next to me. Pat her on the head. She's doing a great job keeping all the predators away from the web jungle cave. All right, let's jump over into our slideshow. Ask a Web Geek with CJ Gilbert. I'm your web safari guide, and I'm here to help you through this treacherous jungle of the internet. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have. What would you like to ask a web geek? I know that you've got other things going on in your life. I know you're working on your website and you're working on your business, but what else is going on? Is there something with social media or your email marketing or anything like that that you need help with? This is the place to ask. This is where you can go to get that information. I believe your website is your number one tool. It's the only thing online you can fully own and control. And yet there's a lot of other great tools out there to grow and support your business. Let's use them together. As we work together, I want you to learn about how to better use your website and the other tools and technologies out there to help you attract more customers, make more sales, improve your customer service, increase your efficiency, save time, save money, serve your clients better, faster, and easier. You know, I want to take just a minute to congratulate you. You want to improve your business, and you're taking steps to do so. And I want to say good for you. You know, there's only a small population of the world that actively is working to improve themselves, improve their business, improve their situation. And I know if you're watching or listening to me right now, you're one of those people. So give yourself a pat on the back and say, good job. You're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. And I just want to be another voice to let you know, keep going, take another step forward. You're doing great. Ask a Web Geek. We're on all these social media platforms. Join us wherever you can. First of all, we go live into our Facebook group. That's where we tape the show together as a community. That way I can have some live studio audience in our chat room, and we've got a few down there. Good morning to everyone down there and saying good morning and hello. Glad that you're with us. So we go live in the Facebook group first. We do that on Wednesdays at about 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, unless we have a day like today in which I fight with my computer for an hour. But that's okay, because no matter what time we actually get the show started, we can still produce a show for you that then goes up to YouTube. Our video podcast goes on YouTube. Our audio podcast goes on our website. Both of them are on our website, and you can always go to askawebgeek.com to watch the show, listen to the show, download the show, or use our links there to jump over to YouTube or to the podcast. So let me know if the podcast does or does not appear on the podcast player of your choice. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Those are the big dogs. So join up with us there. If you use something else, let me know if we are or are not there. I want to make sure it's available to you wherever you want to use it. And follow on Twitter. If you're a Twitter user, I'm at Ask A Web Geek. You're very welcome to ask any questions you have on Twitter as well. Tweet along with the show. If you're watching it later, listening to it later, it doesn't matter what episode, doesn't matter how long ago we did that show. Let me know you're listening, watching, and I'll be grateful and glad to talk to you on Twitter. Disclaimer, you must be willing to have your question or issue addressed in a public forum. This is not legal or professional advice. You accept responsibility for everything. Just a couple quick notes. This is a public show. It goes to YouTube. It's on our podcast. It's on our website. And I just want to make sure that the questions you're asking are totally okay for us to discuss in this public forum. We're happy to jump into a website and actually make live changes somewhere on your behalf. And if we need to protect any details while we're doing that, just let me know and we'll make sure to do that. Also, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm a web geek, and I know a lot about websites and tools and technologies you can use for your business, but you do need to make sure that you have those licensed professionals in your business to give you that proper legal and professional advice. If you need an introduction to a business attorney or a CPA or something like that, I've got a lot of people in my network I'd be happy to introduce you, but do keep in mind, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. This is purely information only for your benefit, as best as I know, as best as I can, based on my experience and those in our community. But of course, you accept responsibility for everything, including your own success. Who am I? I'm a web geek. My name is CJ Gilbert, and I've been a web developer for over 20 years, and now I'm a speaker and author. I want business owners, entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, authors, and real estate investors to realize their website is the only thing you can fully own and control on the internet. Yeah, there's a lot of social media channels. Yeah, there's a lot of tools and technologies out there that we can use, we can leverage, we can harness for our business. But I caution you to put all of your eggs in any one of those proverbial baskets, because what if tomorrow the business landscape changes, that company is merged, bought, sold, acquired, whatever. If your entire business is relying on one platform that is not under your control, you're at the whim, you're at the mercy of that other platform. So I say use your own website as your own platform. It's the only thing you can fully own and control. And then from there, we can go out to all the other platforms, bring those people in, and share what you have from your own website. So I'm here to help you with your website, with your marketing, with the other tools and technologies, with all the pieces. There's so many pieces. I was talking to a client earlier this week, and we were having the discussion that any one piece that we're talking about isn't really very difficult. However, there's so many different pieces, it can become really overwhelming when you're trying to figure out all the things you need to do and what order to put them in. And that's where I come in. And that's why I refer to the internet as a jungle. It's so easy to get lost. But you know what else is easy? It's easy to take one step at a time. And if you know where you're going, or you've hired a well-trained guide to help lead you through, it makes that journey a whole lot easier. So you're in the right place with the web geek and the web jungle community. So I'm glad that you're here. My business is serving your business. I and many others in our web community are here to make your business better. We want you to do more business. We want you to do better business. And we are here to help support you. So I'm glad that you're with us this morning. keep on the lookout for a golden nugget. You know, our minds are so interesting as we watch videos over and over, or read something over and over. As we consume that information in repetition, our brain will absorb something different each time. So all you have to do is just be open to receiving that next piece of information, and you're going to find it. And I know we're going to have some amazing golden nuggets on the show today, because I've already watched the video that's about to be our featured topic, and it's really great. So you're definitely going to want to grab some paper, draw a line right down the middle. On the left-hand side, label that notes. On the right side, label it actions. You can take your stream of consciousness notes as we're going through the material on the left side. On the right side, that's the place where you can list out those action steps you want to move very quickly on. And make sure to star your golden nuggets. They're going to be in there. We've got a great show for you today. I'm really excited about it. Ask a Web Geek is sponsored by, our first sponsor is our new sponsor, and this is the Productive and Independent Doer Entrepreneurs Facebook group. I'm so pleased to have our very first guest geek on the show with us today, and this is her Facebook group. So we're going to be hearing from Jenae in just a few minutes, but I want to encourage you, join her Facebook group and plug into this other community of entrepreneurs that are here to support each other and help them grow. I created a shortcut link for you. It's paid with an extra E at the end. PAIDE.gilbertstudios.com, and that stands for Productive and Independent Doer Entrepreneurs. Paid, PAIDE.gilbertstudios.com. That's the shortcut link. It'll take you right into her Facebook group. Join it, and we're so glad that she's part of the show today, and her community is supporting us, and we're supporting them. So join her group and our group, and we'll support each other. Do make sure to check out my free video workshop, 5 Keys to Unlock the Profit Hidden in Your Website. This is a 7-part video series. Each video is less than 10 minutes long, and it just allows you to take one piece at a time while you look at your website and you look to improve your search, your sales, and your service. And while you're working on your website, it's going to have the amazing side benefit of also helping you work on your business. Check that out at my website, safari.com. One of the tools that we mention in that is our scan tool. You know, a lot of business owners don't even know that there's these online business directories that are accumulating your info and just trying to build up their website as best they can. They don't know if they're listing the right information for you. So we have to make sure that we're on top of that and we check it out. And this is a free tool that I offer on my website, scan.gilbertstudios.com. SCAN, scan.gilbertstudios.com. It's a free scan. Run it. We'll just check it out and see how it's listed. All right, it's time to buckle up and stay hydrated. I'm so pleased to go into our next segment today. This is our featured topic of the week. And I'm so pleased to introduce you to our very first guest geek. Her name is Jenae Spry, and her group, the Productive and Independent Doer Entrepreneurs, is the sponsor of our show this week, and she is our first official guest geek. So I'm so pleased to show you this video that she's going to share with us. Is all about a productivity system, helping you set goals that will move you forward in your business one step at a time, one quarter at a time, making sure that you get the tasks accomplished that you need to every month, every quarter, and every year. So check out this amazing video, and I'll join you right back again.
Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about a prioritization and planning system. And this is the strategy that I teach and I also use myself every single day. So really quickly, if you have no idea who I am, my name is Jenae Spry. I am a growth strategist and productivity expert. I help small business owners, whether they're solopreneurs or have already built a team, grow their businesses by making sure that you're not working 24/7 and you're being prescriptive with your time instead of descriptive. I help them set up processes and systems to make sure that their business runs smoothly and grows steadily without falling into that age-old trap of, your business running you instead of you running your business. So, if you're wondering how I learned that, it's through running a boutique translation agency, which is how I started. And I pretty much started by making every single wrong decision that there was possible to make. But I was very fortunate in that I have always been really, really, really obsessed with systems. And if you were to ask my mother, she would tell you that as a small kid, I'd rather spend an entire day figuring out the most efficient way to clean my room instead of just jumping in and doing it in an hour. There had to be a system, and in my defense, there was a system. It just took me 8 hours to figure it out. Still, I use that system over and over and over. So if you ask me, I was absolutely right in the way I was thinking about it. But enough about me. Let's get to today's system. So first, I want to talk about goals in general, and they are not all created equal. Okay, so if you give equal effort to every single goal, there's going to be a really good chance that you're dooming your plans before you start. So what I mean by that is, if you're going to plan for next month in the same exact detail as 6 months from now, you're likely going to be very frustrated with your plans. So in other words, the closer the time frame, the more detailed the plan should be, and then likewise, the more distant the time frame, the more general that plan should be. So this is really, really key to how I keep myself sane when it comes to planning out my business. So in terms of accommodating this, we're going to be working backwards. So you need to have a clear vision of your goal or goals. And if you don't have a clear vision or idea of what your goals are, that's okay. Just think about what would be your absolute perfect utopia for your business, and then work backwards from your utopia to create those goals. So just make sure you list everything that comes to mind, regardless of whether you think it's realistic. And I want to note something really important here. Whether your goals are to scale your business or they're focused on just a better work-life balance or anything in between, the system is going to work the same. Okay. So first thing is just organize goals according to deadline. So this deadline you set ultimately, right, for yourself. I mean, it's not like there's a deadline out there in the world. But for example, if you thought, I really want to travel the world 8 months out of the year, I want to be a digital nomad, something like that, that goal is going to have a later deadline than something like, I really want to grow my client base for my service business, or I have a client that I need to fire yesterday, or I've been thinking of this product, I've got this product going, I already have some things done, but I need to hit the market with it. So regardless, you want to think about the deadline and sort of organize, are we near future, are we long term, is it someday? Then organize them according to importance to you. So a lot of times when I talk to people about this, they're like, well, they're all important to me. And I get that. So it's okay if nothing jumps out at you. But maybe you have a client that's driving you crazy, and you're like, man, I've got to stop working with this business or this person or whatever, right? So you need to fire that client. That might be top of mind. Or, you're launching a new product or your very first product or something like that. And like I said, you're partway through and you're like, okay, we have to check this off. We have to make this sellable right now. And then if any of your goals give you any sort of particular anxiety or stress, or overwhelm you, note that, put a little star or something, because it is going to be important. And this, if you're wondering what this might look like, if nothing really jumps out at you, if you're somebody that's been putting off starting a blog or a YouTube channel, but you've wanted to, and you had the idea 4 years ago, but you just it stresses you out to think of topics or ideas, you don't know what tools you need to do the YouTube channel, etc., then that's when you want to put a star by it, right? So if it just overwhelms you to the point that you just haven't done anything since you had the idea, then there's a really good chance you're in this situation with that goal. Okay, so before moving on, you want to review your list of goals and make sure that you don't actually have any ideas on it, okay? So it's really important to not accidentally put ideas on our task list and on our to-do list and on our goal list. If you do, separate those out. So ideas might be an idea for a blog post topic, for example, which is great. Or, I've had ideas like, oh, I want to add this thing to our website or something like that, right? Section the website. that's all awesome. You could make a list somewhere, just in a separate place. Okay. It just needs to be elsewhere and not mixed in with your actual goals that you're going to move forward and do. So now you should have a list that might have some level of organization to it in terms of your goals, but it's probably still a list of like 200 wishes for your business. And it doesn't have a ton of structure, and that's totally fine. So this is how I choose out of my list of tons and tons and tons of things that I would like to do if I could clone myself 100 times, and start actually planning my next quarter. So which of these goals are decently important to you and also doable? Okay, so important and doable. So this could include like making phone calls that you've put off. Maybe you need to upgrade your computer. It's like really slow, or, a piece of software. You really need to make this a priority. It could also include things like, man, I kind of promised my logo designer that I'd get back to him like 5 weeks ago. Maybe I need to, make that a priority. Or I've been putting off a website. I bought a domain name like 5 years ago. There's no website on it. So the idea is that if I don't get anything done in the next 3 months or the next whatever, I would love to have this thing done. So we're focusing on a quarter right now, but I'm going to explain how this same system works for a month, works for a week, works for a day. But we want to think about, if I don't get anything else done, I want this done, right? Some possibly bad news here. It's very easy to underestimate how much time we have, or how much time we will need in order to achieve goals, and then overestimate how much time we're going to have to give them, right? So we often think that we have more time than we do to accomplish things. So we also need to remember that things happen. And guess what? Things will always happen to derail you. That's just life. That's just business. So if you take nothing away from this video, take this away, please. If you were to go on a diet, guys, or get a financial advisor to help you with your budget, they're going to have you keep a log and track things. And they might even try to put you on a written diet or a written budget that's literally nothing more than a description of what you're already doing. And the reason that the way these people work is to do this, it's because they're trying to move you into being prescriptive with these topics and following a guideline, even if it's what you're already doing. Okay, so you want to do the same thing here. Get in the habit of setting yourself realistic goals that you can actually check off. As you consistently check things off and are in increasingly better control of your goals, whether it's make more money, manage my time better, whatever it is, then the more easily you're going to be able to achieve really difficult goals and handle setbacks like really easily. So if you're absolutely terrible at making to-do lists, guys, and like checking things off, I don't care if you need to put like check email on your list or in your like goals. That's why I check email every day. Like that's fine. When you already know that you're somebody that checks email like 14 times a day, that's fine, because it's going to work toward creating this habit of being prescriptive. Okay, so really quickly, as we're moving into this system, we need to talk about this. Okay, the worst business decision that you can make is truly no decision. I love this quote by John Peace. The worst decision you can make is no decision. The needs are not going to go away. Waiting is what has gotten us in the situation we're in now. So just think about that for a minute, right? Think about if you could talk to yourself from like a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, right? What goals or projects or tasks do you wish that you had done? If you could talk to that person and be like, do this. Oh my God, I wish I'd done this, right? So would it have mattered so much if you got them in the wrong order, right? By this time, what could you have accomplished if you had just picked a thing, crushed it, and moved on to another one, even if it was like totally the wrong order? So not knowing what to do is one of the top things that seems to paralyze business owners. And if this is you, I totally promise that if you throw all your goals you have, like write them on little pieces of paper and literally put them in a hat and randomly pick one out and do it, and then pick another one after that one's done, and that's your planning process, you will still be better off than if you keep waiting until you have some magical realization of the perfect order of things or some magical huge amount of time to do all of them, okay? Because guess what? Things happen. They do. And if your productivity system does not allow for this, it will not work. I promise you that. Okay, so let's get to it. The system is called 1-3-more. And prioritization is probably the top thing people ask me about on a regular basis. So that's why I'm focusing on this in my first video. So the first thing is to pick no more than a single most important goal. So a goal that you are determined to see done no matter what. And if you don't have anything that makes you feel that way, that's okay, because remember, we can just pick something out of a hat if we have to. But we're going to treat it that way. We're going to treat it like this is come hell or high water, this will be done goal, okay? Next is 3 ideal goals. If these goals don't get done, not the end of the world. And if they get postponed, that's not that big of a deal, okay? So if your most important goal takes a little bit more time than you thought, postpone the ideal goals, no big deal. Next is everything else. So we call them others. So once you accomplish the prioritized goals, then you can start promoting these guys up the ladder. So this system can be used, like I said, to plan your year by breaking it into quarters and then creating a 1-3-more plan for that quarter, for each month, for even a week or a day. So just to visualize this, because I'm a really visual person, this is a visual representation of what that would look like for a quarter. So we have the most important goal, our 3 ideals, and everything else. So the idea is that when you go into the next stage, the next quarter, for example, here, the mentality should be that when I plan that quarter, I'm going to assume that the most important goal from the previous quarter is done. Like it's just going to be done, because no matter what, if I have to stay up until the middle of the night, that goal will be done, right? So you want to treat it that way. The ideal goals might be done, be great if they were, might need to find spots with them in the upcoming quarter. And then the others are sort of in the, like, if I'm lucky, if I have extra time kind of goals. But we want to have them there so we can promote them for the times that we do actually have that space, which I know maybe that's never, but you never know. So if you've been planning your business regularly for a long time and this seems really like easy to you and you're like, this is baby stuff, whatever, then, take the same structure and just increase the number of goals, right? So if you want to bet on yourself more, then that's okay to add more most important goals that you're for sure going to have done. But if you're the opposite and this feels really overwhelming and you tend to postpone like 90% of what you put on your goal list, then stick to 1-3-more for sure. So I typically don't have more than 1 goal for my quarter. It's usually bigger, requires lots of steps. And if I get it done, I will always have a backup. And sometimes I get to promote my backup up the ladder and sometimes I don't. So it'll be one of the ideal goals will be my backup for the most important, and so on. The thought being, again, the most important goal will definitely be done and the ideal goals might be done. Everything else, probably not, but could potentially be done. So this is what it looks like for a month, right? So month 1, so 1-3-more. Remember that, again, you can always promote things, okay? So just make sure that you're forcing yourself to promote them through the process, though, as opposed to just putting like 4 or 5 things on your list that you're going to assume are going to get done, because that makes it really difficult to move through the system. So you can use this method to prioritize almost indefinitely, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. And we're going to assume the most important thing will be done as we plan the next stage. Ideal goals, probably, and then everything else, maybe. And remember that, like, it's okay if you feel like all of these things are important. They are going to get done, just we're prioritizing. Okay, so it's okay to be like, oh, but one of the things listed in others is super, super important to me. That's okay. It will get promoted, just not yet. And so if you're looking at planning your to-do list, here's a visual representation of what it looks like in a to-do list app. And if you follow the system, you're always going to have that top priority, the secondary priorities. And if you're consistently checking off that top priority, you're going to make leaps and bounds forward. I mean, the more consistently you begin to break down your own goals, the more consistently you'll be able to predict them. And that's very, very powerful, because you'll be able to predict whether they are doable, whether they're realistic, and when they can be done, right? So it creates a system that allows you to be really productive with a whole lot less stress. But I want to remind you again, no matter how well you plan, your car can break down, Or, as actually happened to a friend of mine a couple of years ago, your identity can get stolen and you're spending all your time on the phone with the bank instead of working yourself through these lists. But if that happens, you know exactly what to do, right? Which is push your ideal goals further into the future, handle the emergency, handle the situation that's going on, and try to get something done on that most important goal to move it forward. Okay, that is the goal. There are tons of advantages of this system. No matter what happens, you will always be moving your business forward. It means that when you look back over your previous year, instead of, oh my God, I'm in the same place that I was in last year, ugh, right? You're always going to see that these clearly defined goals have been checked off. So progress will have been made no matter what happens. And as a reminder, there's one most important goal to the detriment of all else. So in theory, if you have 4 goals for each, like 1 goal per quarter, that means 4 things will be done every single year to move your business forward. And those can be really, really massive things. And it's also going to give you the flexibility to handle emergencies and move things around without feeling like you just failed yourself or failed your plans. And I'll be honest with you guys, I love being productive. I've got lists. I love systems like this one. And the more productive and organized you become, the more priorities you can add to each level. But the system itself is essentially the same, it just grows. So, you know, when I finish things, sometimes I start feeling myself and I'm like, you know what, that was a piece of cake. I'm going to do like 10 times that. And shockingly, it doesn't always work out. And when that happens, I just return to the 1-3 more system. When I get too excited and add too many things and make too many things priorities, just 1-3 more, 1-3 more. Super easy, super solid, never fails me. Coming up in future pieces of content, I will be talking about projects versus tasks. So this is really important. If you checked anything as super stressful or very overwhelming, this is going to be something you really want to pay attention to. Breaking down really big goals and projects into smaller pieces so they can actually be moved forward. To-do list management, and then putting your productivity on autopilot, which is always awesome. I love automation. So thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this, and hopefully I will see you in the comments.
Thank you so much, Jenae. That was an amazing video. I'm so pleased that you're our first guest geek. Thank you for sharing that with the community. I know I'm going to need to watch that video over and over again to really absorb everything that she just went over. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Watch that segment 7 times and absorb every nuance of what she just taught us. That's something that I'm going to definitely practice and put into use. So Jenae, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. I want to encourage you to join her Facebook group, Productive and Independent Doer Entrepreneurs. And you can get there with my shortcut, paide.gilbertstudios.com. That's paid with an E at the end, paide.gilbertstudios.com. Thanks, Jenae. Really great stuff. Can't wait to see those future videos. I hope she's going to share those future videos with us. I bet she will. I bet she will. Alrighty, it's now time to Ask a Web Geek. Please join our ongoing conversations in our Facebook group. We've got a lot of great conversations. Take a look for this question about good books and resources on offline or inexpensive techniques. We're always looking for things to improve our business, both online and offline, and we would love your tips, resources, books, and ideas. We also have a question currently in discussion right now about the correct way to come up with your own Instagram hashtags. And our community has shared some really amazing resources on tools you can use to research hashtags, both those that are popular, because you want to use those if possible, as well as coming up with something unique for yourself. Use both. And there's some great tools in our Facebook group about that. So thanks to our community for chiming in with those. Please come check it out and let us know what your thoughts and ideas are. Last time on Ask a Web Geek, last week, episode 25, we went through our resource pages, both on the Ask a Web Geek website as well as the Gilbert Studios website. And those resource pages are available to you all the time at your convenience. So you can go to askawebgeek.com and click that top link to resources and find all the links and details that we've been going over in our show, as well as a shortcut to the Gilbert Studios resources page, which has even more resources that you can use for your business. So check that out and let me know if you have any questions about those. In episode 24, we talked about WordPress themes. We talked about the difference between the core software, how to install a theme, how plugins enhance both of those pieces, and a few other details. In episode 23, we talked about why size matters. And of course, I'm talking about the website image sizes, and we want to balance the quality and the download speed of those images. So make sure to check out episode 23 to get the details on that. I got to tell you, I was visiting a website yesterday, one of my clients actually, and he did not take my advice. And his images are way too big on that website, and they are taking way too long to download. And you know what? I didn't wait around. I clicked one link and I clicked another link, and as that page came up and those images started loading like this, I don't have time for that, and I left his website. And that's a shame, because he should have listened to me. He should have taken my advice on exactly what to do with those images. But he didn't. So let that be a caution for you. And make sure that you watch episode 23 to learn how to properly size your images for your website. Or maybe people will leave your website too. And then in episode 22, I revealed my secret formula to create a secure password that you can actually remember. Yes, you can use those password tools. They're phenomenal, and I encourage you to do that. They're secure, but there may be a lot of times when you want to create a secure password that you can actually remember. And if you use my formula, you can actually create a unique password for every website you use. So check that out. It's in episode 22. All right, here comes a question from our studio audience today. Peter has a question. He was checking out, I was showing, here, let me show you. I was showing this brand new brochure that was made for me by Garrison. We were working on this earlier this week for a class that I taught on social media strategies. And Peter was looking at this brochure in another one of my posts and said this question. He said, "Hey there, CJ, neat looking handout you've created. Was your exercise and were your teachings mostly on paper and watching a PowerPoint, or did you show active use of any automation tools?" Let me answer that question first. And the answer is yes, it was on paper. There was no PowerPoint. We used this brochure, and there was exercises inside of it. We used good old-fashioned pen on paper to walk through this. That way we're not at the mercy of any audio-visual equipment during the workshops. I often find that's just a distraction. It just gets in the way of the learning. So we've got a great handout. You didn't need anything more than a pen or a pencil to take advantage of this teaching. So that's what we did. It was all pen and paper, and they said they got a lot out of it. It was packed with information, and I was really grateful to hear about that. Garrison will tell you more about how much they love that brochure. Peter goes on to say, "Did you show any active use of any automation tools? I wonder if you use any apps or Windows software, for example, that cross-post to Facebook, Instagram, those are the big ones, maybe Snapchat too, and drawing a blank, Twitter." So I thought, yes, I would show that to you in today's show. I know this is something that we touched on previously, and just off the top of my head, it was at right around episode 12, I want to say. But it's been long enough, and because we've got Peter's specific question, I thought we'd take this as an opportunity to jump into the internet and check out a tool that you can use to help you with your social media posting. So let's go ahead and take a field trip right now. What are we going to do? We're going to pull up the browser. So we've got the Ask A Web Geek website right over here. Now I need to find it so I can see it. Here it is, AskAWebGeek.com. Make sure to come to our Ask A Web Geek website and click this green button right here to join our Facebook group. That's where we take your questions. That's where we tape the show live together as a community. And make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Once we've got that show produced, a few days after we tape it, it goes live on YouTube, goes live on our website. We'd love for you to subscribe on YouTube. We're still working to get our first 100 subscribers. We're really close. We're really close. You could help us reach that goal. Okay, I want to show you a cool tool today. This is the tool that I use to post to social media. It's called Buffer. Buffer.com. That's spelled Buffer.com. 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 The first thing to let you know is that there is a free version of the software that you can use, and the thing that it limits is how many accounts you can link to it, how many social media accounts it can link to. So for example, you can see right here, I've got a lot linked in. I've got 3 Twitter profiles, I've got 2 Facebook pages, a Facebook group, LinkedIn, and my Instagram. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make it as complicated as I use it. Just start with what you have. Maybe a Facebook page, maybe an Instagram, maybe a Twitter if you had it. Peter mentioned Twitter, but he couldn't remember it, so I don't know if he uses it a lot. But I do, and this is the tool that I use. Now, this is a great tool for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a single place that you can go, create your post, and then allow it to post for you on all the social media platforms. So that way you're not going from platform to platform to platform to create those posts. One place, post them everywhere. So that's a big help. That's a savings. That alone would be a good tool. But it's got another layer on top of it. It allows you to schedule those posts into the future. This is so powerful. One place you can go, one tool to use. It's going to allow you to put those posts out to the social media networks that you want to, and it allows you to schedule them in the future. So this is really powerful. This means you could sit down on a Saturday and you could plan out your social media for the following week, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or even the whole month if you wanted to do that. Now, I don't schedule the whole month out. I know people who do, and they love this tool, and this is exactly how they use it. They sit down once, they plan out their social media for a month or 6 weeks, and then they can forget about it. Now, I like to be a little more hands-on than that with my social media because it's kind of part of what I do, right? But I still use this tool to do it, and as you can see, I've got some posts that are ready to pop, ready to come out here in the next couple days because I did schedule these this last weekend when I was creating the last podcast. I created some posts that would share it over the next week. So as you can see, this one right here is going to go out advertising my my 7-part free video workshop that's going to release today at 11/11. And then I've got another one, the one about my scan tools. That one's going to share today at 1/11. So you can see those are pre-programmed, ready to go out. And they're going to be shared on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and my Facebook pages. So you can see we've got scheduled posts ready to go out. So that's an advantage. So that's the tool that I use, buffer.com. This is the thing. Betty says, I use this all the time, and you just reminded me my buffer for this week is empty. Yikes. That's awesome, Betty. Good. So jump on that. Betty's going to move at the speed of instruction here. She's going to jump right on that and make sure that she puts some posts into her buffer for this week. So what was I talking about? I was talking about buffer. So you can use it to, number one, schedule your posts in advance. Really great. And number two, use multiple channels from one dashboard. By the way, there is also a phone app for Buffer. I use both. I use the computer version, I use the phone version. Which do I use more? I probably use the phone version more because I will still use the phone app to post pictures or post to multiple networks at one time. Now, I do personally do it a little more complicated, again, because of the hands-on approach that I use and the way that I like to really control certain aspects, but you don't have to do it as complicated as I do. If you only have a couple social media channels, use what you have. If you're learning the tool, use the tool as much as is comfortable for you. I'm comfortable using it in a more complicated way, and so I do. Okay, so I'm going to create a post for you right now, and you can kind of watch and see how it happens. So we're going to create a post advertising our new guest geek on the show, Jenae. Isn't that exciting? So the first thing I want to do is add an image. So I've got an image ready to go right over here for our guest geek, Jenae. So we're going to pull that up. Up. And then I'm going to grab the website for Ask a Web Geek, and I'm going to say we are so excited to have our very first official guest geek on our show today. We welcome Jenae Spry. I hope I'm spelling that correctly. We welcome Jenae Spry and her. We welcome Jenae Spry. I'm going to say, welcome Jenae Spry to the show. Don't miss her amazing productivity system to help you set goals and accomplish them and move forward in your business. We're so excited to have our very first official guest geek on our show today. Welcome Jenae Spry to the show. Don't miss her amazing productivity system to help you set goals and move forward in your business. I think that sounds great. And we're going to go ahead and put in the website. By the way, I don't know if you just noticed when I pasted in the website, it automatically changed it into a Buffly link. Now you can undo that if you want it to show the actual website address. The reason that it does it like this is to create a tracking link so that Buffer can then give you the stats later on how many people clicked your link, how effective that was, that kind of a thing. So that's the reason they use their own shortcut link. It saves you some characters. It allows them to track the results for you and show those to you, but you can turn that off anytime that you want to actually show whatever link you pasted in there. So all you have to do is hover over the link that you just added, and you'll see there's a button that pops up that says unshorten. I'm going to leave it shortened. I don't have a problem with it using my using that shortened link. I'm going to go ahead and put in my hashtags. Now you'll notice that this is currently only going to Instagram. So let's review. I've got an image in there. I've written out my post. I've got a link in there, and now I've got my hashtags in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and select. I want it to go on the Ask A Web Geek Twitter. I want it to go to my Instagram. I want it to go to one of my pages. Which one should we do? Let's put it on the CJ Gilbert page. Now, once we've gotten this far, you can customize it for each network. So I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to check them all, but the one I know we're going to need to do is the Twitter post because we're limited in characters. We can only use 280 characters in a Twitter post. So I'm going to go right into here and I'm going to remove some of the text from my post. We are so excited. So I'm going to abbreviate this a lot because it's Twitter. So excited to have our first guest geek. Welcome Jenae Spry. And then we're going to say use her amazing productivity system. I'm going to leave that in there. Productivity system to help you set goals, to help you, I'm going to put move forward in your business. Okay, now that right there is almost enough characters. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the customer service hashtag, and that's done it. Perfect. So excited to have our very first guest geek. You know what we're going to do? Can we tag her right into this? We sure can. We sure can do that. Thanks, Twitter. Okay. Done. That looks good. So that's our Twitter post. Let's check out our Facebook post. Facebook post looks good, but I'm going to go ahead and remove some hashtags. Facebook doesn't love hashtags. It uses them. I think people tolerate it more than anything. So best practice is to only use a few hashtags in your Facebook post, not a ton. You can use a couple. So I'm going to use a couple. In fact, I'm going to take out the sales hashtag. I'm going to pull out the work from home dad hashtag too. Okay, and then let's check our Instagram post. The Instagram post is awesome. I'll have more details for that in a second. And the LinkedIn post looks great. Okay, so check it out. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to post this right now. Share now. Now, a couple things happen. So that's going to immediately be shared to the whole world. And the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get a notification on my phone to manually share this to Instagram. So let's check that out together. And there it is. Your post is ready to be shared now. So I'm going to go ahead and click post. And it's going to pull up the Buffer app right here on my phone. And there's the picture and there's the text. So I'm going to go ahead and click feed. It automatically copies the text for me. It automatically downloads the image for me. And it automatically adds the image to my post. So then I'm going to click next. And I'm going to click next. They make it real easy. And then right up here, I'm just going to hold my finger. And then I'm going to click paste. See that? We're almost done. I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple people. I'm going to tag Jenae into this post, if I can spell correctly. We're going to tag her in there. We're going to tag her business, Crush Conversions. And we're going to tag me in here too. Even though I'm not on here, I'll be the geek. There we go. I'm going to tag the belt buckle because I'm silly, and that's what I do. Okay, we're going to add a location. Our location right now is Gilbert Studios website design. Now, here's a cool trick. Tumblr is not one of the accounts that you can add to your Buffer account, but it is one of the ones that you can add to your Instagram account. So, while I'm posting it to Instagram, I'm also going ahead and tell it to go ahead and share that over to Tumblr. Here's another tip for you. Links in Instagram posts are not live. So I add a little note that says link in profile to let them know that they can use the link in my profile to get to the link that's in this post. And I covered this in a previous video. I think it was episode 3. That's my guess. Episode 3, I showed you how to use Linktree to create that link about this and this whole reason. So check that out if that's helpful to you. Okay, let me just review. We've got the text, we've got the photo, I've tagged the people in it, I've got the location, that's the business, I've got Tumblr. Now I shared it on Buffer to my CJ Gilbert page. If I wanted to, I could click here and also share it to my Gilbert Studios page from Instagram. I'm not going to do that right now because later I'm going to go into Facebook and manually share it. Like I told you, I make it a little more complicated for myself. You don't have to do that. Okay, so after all that, we're going to go ahead and hit share, and away it goes. So in those few minutes that you watched, I used the Buffer software to create a post, added a picture, added a link, added some hashtags, picked which ones I wanted it to go to, and I hit share. It went ahead and pushed it to my phone so I could also cross-share it to Instagram, and now it is live, just like that. Oh, I hope there's going to be a little bit of a glare. And now it's live, just like that on Instagram. That easy. Okay, so Peter, I hope that answers your question. This is the software I use, buffer.com, and it works really well for that purpose. So I'm very pleased. Thanks for your question so much. Let's go ahead and resume our slideshow. That was our field trip where we took a look at Buffer. All righty. And more. What questions do you have? This is the part of the show where we feature your questions. We're here to answer any of your questions, help you move forward in your business with your website, with your online tools, with your offline tools. Please let us know how we can support you. Ask a Web Geek this week has been sponsored by the Productive and Independent Doer Entrepreneurs Facebook group. I want to thank Jenae so much for being a part of our community and now for being our very first guest geek. Wasn't her segment amazing? I'm looking forward to upcoming videos by her. Please check out her group. You can use my shortcut link to get there, PAIDE.group. paid.gilbertstudios.com. That's paid with an E at the end. paide.gilbertstudios.com. That's going to take you right to her Facebook group. You can request to join it and just let her know you came through the Ask a Web Geek podcast. Do also check out my free video workshop. It's at my website, safari.com. 7 videos, free course for you to use to improve your website, improve your business, and improve your results. One of the tools we talk about is the scan tool, so you can really help manage your online business directory presence. Most business owners aren't even aware about this. So if that's you, you're not alone. You're the majority of people that doesn't even know this is a thing, but it is. So use my free tool, scan.gilbertstudios.com, scan.gilbertstudios.com. All the links and details are over at askawebgeek.com. We thank you so much for being part of our show. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Please let me know how I can support you this week. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's any tools that you're using. Could be something we've talked about previously, and I'll let you know which episode it's on. Could be something that you've seen previously, but you have follow-up questions on. We invite all of your questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you have a question, other people have that same question, and that's the entire reason I'm putting on this show, is for you to ask those questions so we can help you move forward in your business. So please let me know how we can do that. Let me know how I can support you. I'm here in the web cave all the time. Unless I'm out there meeting people in the real world, I'm right here in the web cave working for my clients and working for you to help you move your business forward. I've got my web safari hat here at the ready so we can always dive right into the jungle and do whatever we need to do. So thank you so much for your time and attention. I'm so glad that you've been with us this morning. What a great show. I'm so thrilled that we had Jenae on the show today, and I can't wait for more videos and more tips and tools coming out of her group and from our community. Would you like to be an upcoming guest geek? Reach out to me, askawebgeek.com. You can email cj@askawebgeek.com, and we'll talk more about that. In the meantime, join our Facebook group, subscribe on YouTube, and keep those questions coming. We're here for you every week. We film Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern in our Facebook group, and the show gets released as a podcast and a video the following weekend. We hope to feature one of your questions in an upcoming show. Please let me know how I can support you. Thank you for your time and attention. I'm so glad that you've been with us today. I hope you have a wonderful week. This week is going to be as wonderful as you make it, as you intend for it to be. And we're here to support you with any questions and any hiccups you have along the way. My name is CJ Gilbert. This has been Ask a Web Geek. And here at Gilbert Studios, we understand the internet is a jungle. It's so easy to get lost and fall down hidden traps, get distracted, not end up where you want to go. You want to hire a well-trained guide, join up with a community, a tribe of people that will help lead you through and get you where you want to go. Have yourself a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week in the web jungle. God bless. Okay, take 2, take 3, take some number of takes later, and we're gonna get this going. Okay, here we go. Sharing a group, Ask a Web Geek. We're connected. I think we're ready to get started. Let's do this. I'm only an hour late. No big deal. Whatever. Okay, super bright in my eyes right now, but I think it's a good experience for you, and that's all that matters. So let's put on the safari hat, which doesn't shade my eyes in any way, but then you couldn't see me great, because it'd be like, welcome to Ask a Web Geek. See, there the hat is functional, but, you know, not great TV, right? That's really nice. It's totally shading my eyes. I could take you through the jungle just like this. Thanks for being with us this morning, and sorry to those of you who joined us earlier and then never made it back to this version of it. We made a show anyway, somewhere in the middle there. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. What do we say? The internet's a jungle. Roar! Is it even really scary? Is it even really a predator? Or is it just in your imagination? Is it really true? You decide. See you next week.